Morning guys, so today I basically thought I would talk a little bit about my nutrition or diet strategy, or just what I basically eat, because a couple of you guys have asked me and I said I'd make a video on it. And although I did a full day of eating, I don't know, sometime last week, obviously a full day of eating is only one day, and to be fair, that was an unusual day because I just started my plan that coach had given me, and personally that's not actually the best strategy for me. The reason being is because I love carbs, and as soon as I start eating carbs I can't really stop eating carbs. And when you're trying to prep, you know, if you've got them in the house and you're really tempted by them and you're hungry, then it's inevitable that you're going to end up eating them. So I've kind of changed things up quite a bit and gone back to how I was eating before, which is predominantly a high protein and higher fat diet. Very well, minimal carbs. Not that I'm afraid of carbs or, you know, I don't want to eat them, but I know if I start eating them then I get really hungry. It causes like an insulin spike. I don't have a very good sugar response. I had a DNA test done and it said I had a very bad sugar response, and this might be like the main cause for just being really hungry and not being able to deal with the carbohydrate or sugar in my body. So consequently I decided that actually for me personally, I mean it's a very individual thing, it's better that I have higher protein, higher fat and feel kind of more satisfied with what I'm eating, and then not feel continuously hungry, because there's nothing worse than that, especially if you are prepping for a competition. With all of that being said, so the kind of foods I've been eating are below. I've been having quite a bit of steak, especially for a girl it's really important you're getting enough iron. I've been having quite a lot of cheese, so feta and parmesan are kind of like my cheeses of choice, and whatever kind of meat or protein I'm having I often have cheese with it. Tofu, now that's something I never used to have, but actually I quite like it at the moment and I'm quite intuitive in my eating. If I fancy something then I will normally have it, especially, you know, if it's like a healthy-ish food. A lot of salmon because I love salmon, and then vegetables, so courgettes, fairly low calorie, they're very versatile, you know, I quite like to saute them and have them again with meat and cheese. Broccoli, I also have a lot of eggs, so I normally have eggs for breakfast, and also got green beans in the freezer. I do have some chicken in my freezer. I drink quite a lot of coffee, which maybe is not the best thing, but it just tastes so good. And then I'll have butter with things. I'm not afraid of butter. I much prefer to have like a whole food than something which is processed. So that's something I really do try and stay away from, too much processed food. I would also say I go by like the 80-20 principle. So 80% of the time I will be eating, you know, healthy whole foods. To be fair, it's probably more like 90% of the time. But if I'm going out for a meal with friends or family, or, you know, I'm just popping out and on a Sunday I'm having a coffee and a cake, it's not the end of the world, you know. Everything in moderation, have that healthy, balanced lifestyle, but don't become kind of too obsessed with it. And I find this diet really works for me. I don't feel too hungry when I'm eating quite like, I guess, high fat foods like cheese, a bit of fat on the meat, stuff like that, that's fine. I'm getting enough protein to maintain muscle mass and also keep me full. And then I've got some vegetables as well. I'm trying not to have too much fruit because again that does cause a insulin spike, even though it's got a lot of fibre. I just find for my body that it doesn't always work the best, and I do really enjoy it, so as soon as I start eating it I always want more. And when you're trying to stick to like a plan for a competition or a photo shoot, then obviously it's, you know, you want to eliminate that kind of, okay, this is making me feel really hungry. Sorry, I just stepped on the squeaky bit floor. So yeah, that is kind of my strategy. I would also say, if you are looking at weight loss or competing, or depending on obviously your goals, if you're after weight loss then you need to be in a calorie deficit. That's number one most important, Second most important is making sure your protein intake is relatively high. Then it's up to you whether you want more carbohydrate and fat if they fit within your calorie intake. Like, they're the three most important things. And then try and stick to healthy whole foods at least like 80 to 90% of the time. And just listen to your body. Try and understand what works for you, because each person is slightly different. Calorie deficit and protein intake are, I would say, the two most essentials. But after that, whole foods, and try and be a bit intuitive with your eating. What works for you, what doesn't work. If I have a load of carbs and sweet things, even though I'm not massively into sweet things, I'm a lot more likely to overindulge in them, not stick to plan, and that doesn't get me towards my goal. It makes me feel rubbish. So there's just no point. You know, that is pretty much as simple as that. But I hope you have found that quite, I guess, interesting, insightful. Maybe you've taken a couple of tips away yourself. And please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you for my next video. Actually, a couple of other things before I go. This is like a little extension. But firstly, I find if I have foods in the house that I'm tempted by, then I will eat them. So rule number one, I don't buy them. And if it's something like, I don't know, some oatmeal thing or cake or something like that, then I will normally have it and go out. So I can only have one. So it will be like a bowl of some oats, overnight oats thing, which I literally love. If I have it in the house, I will eat it all, like a lot of oats. Which is fine because oats are healthy, but it's not fine when you're trying to be in a calorie deficit. So that, you know, it doesn't matter if the food's healthy or not healthy. If you know you're going to overindulge in it, then don't bother having it in the house. If it's too much of a temptation, don't have it if you're looking to be in that calorie deficit to lose weight. Just make sure that you are really like hot with that. Number two, what was number two? If you want to fill out meals, go for like green veg. If you're feeling hungry for a snack, go for something with a lot of volume, like vegetables. And it's very difficult to, again, it's difficult to overindulge in those because they are low in calorie. So if you're feeling really hungry at some point in the day, you're dieting, then just grab a load of like broccoli, peas. Well, actually peas are a bit higher in calories, but like broccoli, kale, spinach, big salad, and it's difficult to then go over your calorie intake with that. And also there's a lot of fibre in there, so obviously that will help you cleanse out your body. Number three, coffee. Yeah, so I do always have a coffee shop coffee. Obviously when shops were, well, coffee shops were actually closed, I couldn't, but all bar that, I would normally go out and get, at the moment, a flat white, and for me it's just something that's enjoyable. It's like 100, max 150 calories, and I fit it within my diet. So do be aware that drinks contain calories, especially if you're drinking alcohol. But drinks like, you know, from the coffee shop, lattes, all these weird blends they have in different coffee shops will contain calories, so make sure to count that in your calorie intake. And there was one other thing, I just can't remember what it was. Maybe it will come back to me. Maybe I will mention it in tomorrow's video if it does. So I will say goodbye, have a lovely day.